Hey everyone, welcome back to Rocky Goes to Hollywood. Today we're taking a deep dive into the life and legacy of one of Hollywood's most legendary actors, Marlon Brando. From his groundbreaking performances to his off-screen controversies, Brando had raw talent and an intense presence. But beyond the iconic roles and larger-than-life persona, there's a wealth of fascinating stories that shaped his incredible journey. So sit back, relax, and let's explore the interesting things from the life of Marlon Brando. Brando was expelled from high school, allegedly for riding a motorcycle down the hallway, prompting his father to send him to Shattuck Military Academy in Minnesota. While there, he recounted an incident in which he climbed the bell tower one night, removed the 150-pound clapper, carried it 200 yards, and buried it. In a stroke of ingenuity, he then formed a committee to investigate the culprit, ensuring he was never caught. However, he was eventually expelled for other infractions. In the spring of 1943, he moved to New York to live with his sister in Greenwich Village. In New York, Brando worked as an elevator operator at Best & Co., a department store. In Brando, Songs My Mother Taught Me, he recalled following that job with brief stints as a waiter, a short-order cook, and a sandwich man. He also worked as a night watchman at a factory. After Brando returned the unread script of On the Waterfront twice, Frank Sinatra was cast as Terry Malloy. While costumes were being fitted for the crooner's role, Brando changed his mind, persuaded by producer Sam Spiegel to put his politics aside and reunite with his A Streetcar Named Desire director, Elia Kazan, who had testified before the House Committee on Un-American Activities in 1952. When Brando saw the finished film, he was so depressed by his performance that he walked out of the screening room without saying a word. Nevertheless, he went on to win his first Best Actor Oscar for that role. And talking of that Oscar, Brando ended up losing it. Brando wrote that he genuinely didn't know what happened to it. He didn't realise it was missing until 1994, when his lawyer informed him that a London auction house was planning to sell it. Still resentful of losing the role of Terry Malloy, Sinatra held a grudge and often referred to Brando as Mumbles. He also made it clear that he didn't care for Brando or that method crap. But the two would still star together in Guys and Dolls in 1955, with Sinatra playing Nathan Detroit and Brando taking on the role of Sky Masterson. To get back at Sinatra for his dislike of rehearsing, Brando intentionally flubbed lines at the end of scenes to force retakes. In one instance, Brando reportedly messed up 9 times in a row because Sinatra had to eat a piece of cheesecake each time. After the 9th mistake, Sinatra threw his plate to the ground, jammed his fork into the table, and yelled at the director, "These effing New York actors, how much cheesecake do you think I can eat?" When Brando learned that Bert Reynolds was being considered for a role in The Godfather, he threatened to drop out of playing Vito if Reynolds was cast. Brando remarked that Reynolds was the epitome of something that makes me want to throw up. Brando initially earned $2.25 million for just 12 days of work on Superman. But over the years, his salary has risen to $3.7 million for a mere 10 minutes of screen time. Brando was also paid $2 million to make a cameo as a priest in Scary Movie 2, but had to withdraw after being hospitalized with pneumonia. Co-writer and star Sean Wayans later revealed that Brando had wanted to push through despite his condition, wearing an oxygen mask during preparations. However, the team ultimately decided he was too unwell to continue. Brando starred in The Score from 2001, directed by Frank Oz, a renowned puppeteer who operated and voiced characters such as Miss Piggy, Fozzie Bear, Cookie Monster, Grover, and Yoda, of course. Trouble began when Brando played his homosexual character way over the top on the first day of shooting. Oz was then a bit tough on Brando when he asked him to tone it down. In response, Brando began referring to Oz as Miss Piggy. Co-star Robert De Niro stepped in as a mediator, delivering Oz's directions to Brando. For one scene which took 2 days to shoot, Brando was so upset that he refused to act with Oz in the room, so the director had to watch from outside with a monitor. Brando starred in some truly dreadful films, delivering performances that, depending on your perspective, could be seen as either genius acts of trolling or something you would expect to see in a high school play. One example is The Island of Dr. Moreau. When making it, Brando became obsessed with Nelson de la Rosa, the world's smallest man who played a monster in the film. He insisted he wouldn't act unless De La Rosa appeared in all his scenes, dressed in the same costumes as Brando. He reportedly disliked memorizing lines, believing it would hinder the spontaneity of his performance. To work around this, he would have cue cards taped around the set within his line of sight. During the filming of The Godfather, this even meant taping cue cards to Robert Duvall. In Superman, where Brando played Jor-El, Superman's father, he placed his infant son into an escape pod. He read his lines off the baby's diaper. He had asked Bertolucci if he could read his lines off co-star Maria Schneider's backside in Last Tango in Paris, but was turned down. Throughout his career, Brando fed a number of tall tales to Playbill, the company that prints playbills for Broadway. For a small role in I Remember Mama, Brando told Playbill he was born in Calcutta, where his father was involved in genealogical research. He later claimed to have been born in Bangkok, Thailand, and Mukden, China. Brando also said he once owned a Great Dane to whom he fed dehydrated cubes of dog food. In his autobiography, he admitted, "I have always enjoyed making up bizarre stories to see if people would believe them." He fixed Tennessee Williams's house before auditioning for A Streetcar Named Desire. The playwright was living in Provincetown, Massachusetts, when his house flooded and a fuse blew. A few days after his scheduled audition, Brando arrived at Williams's house, asked why the lights were out, and then proceeded to fix the fuse and unclog the overflowing toilet. Only then did he give his audition. Williams later wrote that it was the most magnificent reading he had ever witnessed. Brando screen tested for Rebel Without a Cause. This was in 1947, when the film was merely a planned adaptation of Rebel Without a Cause, the hypnoanalysis of a criminal psychopath. The book told the story of an inmate who, under hypnosis, revealed that he had witnessed his parents having sex as a baby and had been rebelling ever since. Apparently, Brando turned down an offer of $3,000 per week from Warner Brothers and chose to continue working on stage. When the film was eventually made in 1955, the New York Times critic Bosley Crowther remarked that James Dean was imitating Marlon Brando in varying degrees. While living on Mulholland Drive in Beverly Hills, Brando helped earn the street the nickname Bad Boy Drive, sharing the neighborhood with fellow Hollywood rebels Jack Nicholson and Warren Beatty. Often joined by Dennis Hopper and Peter Fonda, they were notorious for their wild antics. Author Robert Sellers described them as men who ignored rules and found normal behavior too dull to follow. Acting coach Stella Adler, who knew Brando well, recalled his intense allure during that era, comparing him to a beast ready to strike at any moment. Brando won Academy Awards for On the Waterfront and The Godfather. He accepted his first Oscar in person, but as we said before, he lost that one. For his second Academy Award win for The Godfather, Brando didn't even show up to collect his award, instead sending Native American activist Sacheen Littlefeather in his place. She delivered a political speech in lieu of an acceptance speech. Brando later claimed he couldn't remember whether he even received the statue the second time. He wrote in his autobiography, "The Motion Picture Academy may have sent it to me, but if it did, I don't know where it is now." So that's 2 awards that he lost. And that's a wrap, folks. I hope you enjoyed this dive into the life of the legendary Marlon Brando. If you've got any more fascinating facts or stories about him, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear them. If you enjoyed the video, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to support the channel. It really means a lot. But until next time, take care and bye for now.